All right, good morning, YouTube. I'm wanting to make this video this week as a response to some of the comments that are just downright vile that I have been receiving on YouTube. I want to make it clear and say that this is almost exclusive to YouTube. I have not experienced this with any Christian that I know in real life. And believe me when I say that I am still involved with a church, because there are no Hebrew Roots congregations, to my knowledge, in Las Vegas. So I am still attached to a church. I don't personally receive my teachings from that church. I watch all of my teachings online through various teachers, but my daughter is involved with their youth outreach programs and stuff like that. She does a lot of ministering with them. She's learning how to evangelize and so on and so forth with people. So we are still involved in a church. We had one issue with one person, but apparently almost everybody in the church has had an issue with this lady because she's wacko. But I've been very forthcoming about my Torah observance. I've been very forthcoming about what we believe. And I have had no judgment from anybody other than that woman. And in fact, last night, because this week we have implemented the commandment of wearing tzitzits on our clothing. My daughter's having a hard time with this. She feels like she's going to be picked on for it. She feels like people are going to look at her differently or ask her questions that she doesn't feel confident enough to answer. So we went to her discipleship Bible group last night. It's kind of like an outreach thing where they do stuff as a group. They go out to the homeless shelters, they go out to, hospitals and so on and so forth, and evangelize and just basically be there for people and love on people. That's basically what this is all about. But the leader, she introduced herself and went over everything that they were doing. And so at the end of the meeting, I actually sat down with her and I said, look, I don't want this to be an elephant in the room. I said, you're eventually going to notice that we wear tzitzits on our clothing. You're eventually going to notice when we're doing prayers and stuff like that, we might say Yahweh or we might say Yeshua. It's not that we're saying that you are saying anything wrong, but we are very in touch with the Hebrew roots of our faith, and we practice those things. And I want to make sure that it's not going to be a weird thing if it comes up later in discussion. I want to be very forthcoming with you, and I had a nice conversation with the teacher, and she said, look, I'm only here to teach your daughter how to make Jesus really big in her life. I'm only here to do that. What you teach your daughter about the Torah and the Bible at home, how in depth you go, is you. That's God put you in charge of that child. And I thought it was beautiful, and almost made me want to cry because, as a Hebrew Roots Christian, I suffer so much persecution. And this is what the Bible talks about when he says you're going to be persecuted for my name's sake. My namesake. Why would he say my namesake? Because eventually people are going to wake up and they're going to remember that he had a real name. And that's what's happening. We're being persecuted for his namesake. When you're coming into the Hebrew Roots movement, you're truly setting yourself apart. Okay? It doesn't mean that things like they do at the church have no bearing on anything. It doesn't mean that they don't matter. They do matter. But this also matters. And it's like I was explaining to my daughter last night. Obedience of the Torah means nothing if you don't have Yeshua at the center of it. And Yeshua means nothing if you're not willing to be obedient and walk in his ways. There's a balance there, and we're trying to find it. And I don't know why that threatens people so much. If that is you, if you are a Christian who feels the need to tear down people who are biblically based, that's all we use is the Bible, you guys. How can you call us cultists? We don't have extracurricular information out there. We're not doing anything that is not written in His Word. And you're calling us cultists. And you're being vile. And basically what you're doing is you're tearing apart the remnant that is right now being regathered. Go read Isaiah. It's all over Isaiah. It talks about us being regathered. We're going to be regathered. We're a remnant. We are calling ourselves Israel because we're the remnant of Israel. And that shouldn't be threatening to you. In fact, if your heart is truly to please God, that should make you want to learn more. I would want to be the remnant if I wasn't the remnant and I saw the remnant going by. I would want to get on board. Okay? The remnant is being regathered right now. The remnant that is spoken of in Isaiah. And you either believe in God or you don't. And if you believe in God, then you'd better believe in prophecy. Okay? Because that is taking place right now and you're missing it. You're missing it. Okay? I don't know why it would threaten you that I want to call my God by His name now that I know what His name is. Why is that threatening to you? Why wouldn't you want to call Him by His name? Why would you actually call me a racist for insisting that our Messiah was Hebrew and had a Hebrew name? Why would you call me a racist? Other than sheer ignorance, why would you call me a racist? You know, here's the deal. I came from a hyper grace Pentecostal church that was not feeding me, okay? The minute I started reading my Bible, I realized I wasn't in the right place. I needed to get out of here. And I left that church. But I don't spend my time tearing that church apart. Because as apostate as I think that they are, they're doing the work of Yahweh. What do I mean by that? They're doing the work of Yahweh because Yahweh's true believers, people who truly believe in God, are going to come into that church and they're going to stay hungry and they're going to stay thirsty and eventually they're going to leave that church for the truth. Okay? So even though that church is an apostate church, the true believers of Yahweh are going to see right through it and it's going to lead them in another direction. Okay? Every apostate church is doing the will of God. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist because God wouldn't allow them to exist. Okay? Those churches exist as a punishment to people who just want to say they believe in God, but they don't want to show any fruit or do anything in their lives. They don't want to change their lives. They don't want to become better human beings. They don't want to be obedient. They don't want to, none of that. They don't want nothing to do with that, but they want to say they believe in God so that hopefully when they die, they'll just magically be whisked away on a cloud and go to heaven. That's what they believe. Okay? So, but I don't pick on those churches, okay? Because even though I think they're wrong, they're still doing the will of God, okay? So, but I just wanted to address this. If you are a Christian out there and you are trying to tear apart the remnant of God, you'd better be very careful with your words, okay? Because there is a remnant being regathered. In, I believe it's Revelations, it's either 12:17, I believe it is, where the dragon is wroth with the woman. Okay? With the woman. That woman represents a church. And it goes on to say that that woman keeps the commandments of God and carries the testimony of Jesus Christ. That's the remnant. Okay? You are doing evil in God's name, by the way, which is breaking commandment number 3, which is taking the Lord's name in vain. And he says he's not going to hold you. He's going to hold you guilty for that. He's not going to hold you guiltless. That means it's unforgivable what you're doing. Remember that. You see, this is the problem. It all comes down to a fear of the Lord. That's what it comes down to. Because you guys are out there and you're tearing people apart with your vile, hateful comments, referring to your brothers and sisters as cult members, the children of God as cult members. You're telling us that we're gonna burn in hell, which really shows your ignorance of the Bible to begin with, considering we don't serve a God who's gonna let us anguish in torment in burning hell for the rest of eternity. He says your soul will be no more. He's going to put an end to your soul. He's not going to throw you in a burning, ever burning hell. How can you believe you even serve a God like that? There is no fear of the Lord at all. And that's what makes it easy for you to get on the computer and type your hateful, hurtful, and sinful comments towards your brothers and sisters in Christ. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. But let me tell you something. Even you do a service. Even you do a service for God, because I use every one of your hateful and misguided comments to teach my children about Yahweh. To teach my children what Yahweh doesn't look like. Okay? Yahweh does not look like you look. Okay? He doesn't go around causing hate and strife and arguments and chaos. That's not his deal. And it shouldn't be your deal. And if you had the character of God in you, you wouldn't be doing it. And every key that you type on your computer, you should ask yourself, okay? Am I doing the right thing? Would God be pleased with what I'm doing? Maybe I should pray on this before I type this. Think about what you're doing, because your actions have consequences. Okay? Now, you may think that you're forgiven of everything that you do wrong, but that is actually not the case. Okay? Because in order to get that forgiveness, you have to repent and turn from that behavior. Okay? Remember that. Well, that probably means nothing to you either, because you don't care about God's ways. You don't care about his doctrines. All you care about is what your pastors and your teachers have taught you. You don't care about anything else. You don't care about learning more. You don't care about going deeper. Let me tell you something. I would be very fearful to say that I have everything figured out. And so should you. So, that's my thought of the day. Questions and comments below if you have them. Shabbat Shalom to all my brothers and sisters. I hope you have a very happy and blessed Sabbath. I know I'm trying to get all my stuff finished up here so I can start working on my dinner and so on and so forth, and spend time with my family. What a curse! What a horrible curse! Anyways, you guys have a blessed day, and I hope that this reaches you and makes you think a little bit. And, you know, like I said, questions and comments below. Have a wonderful day, people. God's with you.